Some of the conflicts, issues, and other consistency problems that you can run into when you're working in a team can all be avoided by using the gitattributes file. When you use one of these files in your repository, you'll be able to get a little bit more control over how everyone else commits, as well as how things get merged when you pull in their changes. This can give you a lot of advantage and is a very powerful tool. Let's take a look at what it can do for us. For this demo, we'll be looking at a gitattributes demo repository. This demo is one that I created at github.com, and I've gone ahead and cloned it locally already. Inside of this repository, we have two files, a gitignore and a readme file. What we're going to add now is a gitattributes file. In order to do this, we can actually get one automatically created for us, or we could create it ourselves. In this case, we're going to go with the easier approach of having GitHub for Windows just create it for us. To do this, we go ahead and go to the repository settings. Once we're in here, you'll see some of the settings that are available to us. One of them is the primary remote. That is the location where we push and pull to and from. The ignored files in the .gitignore file are also listed in here. And there's this third section, the attributes section, which is where our .gitattributes file will be displayed once we have it. In order to get one automatically generated for us, we just click on the Add the recommended .gitattributes file. Now we have this file. Once we click Update, it'll go ahead and save it. But for now I want to mention a couple of the things that are in here. You can see that there are a few lines created automatically for Visual Studio. So all of my projects there are essentially XML files, and it's saying go ahead and use a union when I merge these. What that means is if two people both add files, when it merges them together, it takes the combination of both changes rather than having a conflict. That's a huge benefit since Visual Studio automatically creates new files at the same place. So if two people make two files, there would be a collision every time. This avoids that. There's also text auto, which is going to auto-detect text files, and it does a few things with that. You'll notice some benefits from it. We also then have msysgit files that it sets up, which tells it how to treat some files that might end up inside of a number of different repositories. I'm going to go ahead and click Update now, and we're going to go ahead and see what happens when we use our files. I'm actually going to go ahead and create one additional rule. This new foo rule that I've created means that any .foo files are going to be handled with a union instead of doing a merge conflict if I add the same line. Let's go ahead and create a .foo file. Inside this file, I'm just going to go ahead and put some numbers to make our demo look a little bit easier to read. These are going to be used so that we can verify that we're changing the same file in both places and that it's in the same location. Let's go ahead and commit this file. I'm going to go ahead and commit that and push that up to the server. And then as soon as it's done pushing that out to the server, we're going to go ahead to github.com and we're going to make a change to the file that we'll then be able to pull in a little bit. Notice I'm putting this on the new line 6 just after line 5. That's so that we can verify. Now in my file, I'm going to change the exact same place. I'm going to change just after line 5. So notice definitely the same place. Now I'm going to commit this change. Now it hasn't updated to tell me there's something to pull down yet, but when I click the sync button, it is going to pull it down and push my change up at the same time, and it should use my gitattributes file to make sure that it unions instead of merges, and we'll take a look at the history once this is done. So notice here that there are two changes. One of them, which is adding a change after line 5, and the other one is this is also after line 5. So notice that it pulled in, rebased, and added my change after the other one. So it ends up so that it unioned these two together instead of just throwing a merge conflict that we would then have to use one of those previously learned techniques to work our way out of. This is common inside of make files and other project files and things like that, where a lot of times you're just adding a new step, or I should say adding a new file. And when you do that, it often doesn't matter the order of those files. So a lot of times it's XML or things like that. So if it's a type of file where the ordering doesn't necessarily matter, it's good to do one of these unions to save yourself a little bit of hassle.